Welcome to this dedication ceremony for our giant crinoid rock specimen for it. My name is Ray Garton. I'm the curator for the West Virginia Geological and Economic Survey Museum here for it. I'll have a few things to say later on. But first, I'd like to introduce Dr. Mike Hahn, who's the director of the Geological Survey and the state geologist.
I think we do need to give appropriate recognition to the individuals involved. This is really the result of a whole series of rare events. I mean, if you try to imagine back to hundreds of millions of years ago in this sandy bottomed ocean, to have these creatures, which crinoids, I know when I was collecting fossils when I was young, that was one of the gold standards. If I could find a crinoid, that would have made my day, if not my month, because they were just rare wherever I looked. Here we have a whole side of these. So there was, my guess is it was probably a storm that deposited them. When you get groups like this, especially a floating creature like, or one that sort of moved through the water like that, a storm would collect them like this. So who knows, it may have been a 100-year storm or 500-year storm or a hurricane or something like it. So that was a rare event. Having them preserved is rare. And then long after that, having an individual, Mr. Fox, see them in the course of a, I assume, routine day and recognize them for how special this was, and then to break his routine. And I imagine some other people, you don't just go out, pick it up and put it somewhere else.
Today we're having a dedication ceremony for a very special geological specimen called crinoids. Crinoids is an ancient form of sea life that lived in the oceans of West Virginia 400 million years ago. And we just happened to, one of our good corporate citizens called U.S. Silica, located in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, it was a big sandstone mine. They mined sandstone for many, many products. And we happened to be over there one day and saw this specimen, which you maybe see behind me there. Before it covered in these very special crinoid specimens, technically called Technicrinus anduri is the scientific name. We'd seen individual ones before, but we'd never seen one that had like 20 or 30 individuals on the same rock. And so we knew it was a very important scientific specimen, and so we wanted it. We wanted it for the museum. U.S. Silica agreed, said you can have it. We'd love to donate it to the museum. You just have to figure out a way to transport this 20,000-pound rock back to Morgantown. And so after about 3 years of negotiation with various local contractors, one of them volunteered to have a trailer and a truck to drive over to Berkeley Springs to get it. U.S. Silica provided a big piece of equipment to pick it up and put it on a trailer and bring it back here. And then two other Morgantown companies unloaded it and set it up for us. And it's been a great addition to the museum. It'll be permanently on display outside here, and we have another 200 or 300 specimens of different rocks, minerals, and fossils from West Virginia all around the world in the main lobby of the museum. We didn't know how much it weighed initially, and we just knew it was big. We tried to do some math, how many cubic feet we think the sandstone was, and knowing how much sandstone weighs per cubic foot, we came up with an estimate of maybe 6 or 7 tons, at the most, for it on it. So we thought the equipment we had was enough to handle it. But when we got there, the truck and trailer were empty, so we went through their big scales where they weighed the trucks coming out of the quarry, so we knew our empty weight. Then we went across the scales again after we'd had it loaded, and we found out that it was actually 10 tons. So we were like 7,000 or 8,000 pounds overweight. For it. But the contractor who was doing the hauling felt that he could, his trailer was strong enough and it would handle it. And so we proceeded to cross the interstate, I-68, back to Morgantown. Made it to about Brewston Mills, and in one of the chase cars, we had 4 or 5 cars in like a convoy, and noticed there was a big bubble coming up on one of the tires on the back of the trailer. And so he flagged us down. We pulled off the road and saw that tire was about ready to blow, for it. And that would have probably could have been disastrous at that particular point in time if the tire had exploded with a 10,000-pound rock on the back of it. We had spare tire. We thought that far ahead. We didn't think far enough ahead to have a jack big enough to pick up 10 tons. And so we actually tried 3 different jacks all of those bent trying to pick it up. They just, no matter what we do, we couldn't pick it up. And finally, a local person lived only a few miles away, said that they had like a 10, 15-ton bottle jack, they call it, put under. So he brought it over. We picked it up pretty easily then, changed the tire, and then it came on back into Morgantown. Then it sat here in the parking lot for about a month before we could arrange the other transport to get it unloaded and set up. So logistically, there were several things involved.